What's going on, guys? It's your boy Charles, back with another video from Black and Blue TV. Guys, when you get a chance, please like, share, and subscribe to the content because I'm coming out with more playoff reviews, especially for week 2 of the NFL in this divisional round. Now, I already spoke about the Jaguars and the Chiefs, which is set to kick off in about the next few moments here. And then that's going to be followed up by the New York Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. I think these two games are going to be pretty good games. I think, the Giants game versus the Eagles tonight is going to be a little bit better because it's more of a division rival, so there's much more at stake. But I want to focus on tomorrow. And tomorrow, Sunday at 3 o'clock, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. Now, this is pretty much considered a rematch of what happened in Week 17 due to the game getting canceled because of Damar Hamlin's injury. And, I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad he's doing better. It's definitely a scary sight for football fans as well as both teams playing. Under those type of circumstances, this hasn't happened, in a long time, I don't think. And, both teams respectively, I thought that was the best decision they could make because, fans and players, their hearts were too heavy, because what Damar Hamlin went through was very unfortunate. A kid that just wanted to play football, got his opportunity in the NFL, and for him to go down like that, and to be down for 9 minutes and resuscitated, is definitely a scary thing. So, with this playoff matchup, I think both teams are going to be highly emotional this game. However, I think this is going to be a barn burner. I think this will probably be the best game, simply because I look at both offenses as high firepower juggernauts. Let's look at the quarterback play. You have Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. I think both of these quarterbacks cancel each other out. You can even look at their numbers and they're very similar. Now, with Joe Burrow throwing about 68% of his passes, or completing 68% of his passes to, Josh Allen with 63%, that's not really that far off. And when you look at the touchdown to interception ratio, I think Joe Burrow threw 36 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, and I think Josh Allen threw 34 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. So those guys are going to cancel each other out. Now, when I look at the run game, I think that, Cincinnati's going to have a little tougher way to run the ball because you have two linemen out. You have a left tackle out and also a right guard. You need guards to pull, especially with Joe Mixon, because Joe Mixon is pretty good in open space. Now, I don't know if he's going to get those opportunities this Sunday, but I think Cincinnati could definitely implement him in the pass game to where he could at least get, 15 to 20 to 25 touches, because I think that they're going to need that this game in order for them to win. Putting it all on Joe Burrow's shoulders has happened before and he has come through, but I think this game is going to need a little bit more help. Now, let's look at the Bengals' road record. They're 6-3 overall this season, which is pretty good. It's over 500, 3 games over 500. But I honestly think that's not going to matter this game because the Bengals, they play well anywhere that they go. And when you have Joe Burrow at quarterback, especially with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and co. at wide receiver, they're going to be a tough offensive team to stop. Now, for the Bills defense, they do have more turnovers. They are the better pass rushing team. But I honestly think both defenses are going to have their hands full. Because even when you look at the Bengals side and, their defensive pass rush, led by Hubbard, who actually returned a 98-yard touchdown fumble recovery last week against the Baltimore Ravens. When I do look at these things, I consider it more so, more of an offensive shootout because both of these offenses are just very, very good. I mean, you go to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they have a connection like no other, and that's comparable to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Both of those receivers definitely cancel each other out. Even though I don't think Stephon Diggs is as fast as Jamar Chase, but with Stephon, he's a great route runner. He has hands like no other. And he has a knack to get open, especially in the red zone, especially on plays that are much needed, such as third downs, third and shorts, and third and longs. Josh Allen utilizes Diggs as more so of a safety blanket. And also with Stephon Diggs, he is going to be game planned around heavily, and this is why. Because one-on-one coverage does not work with him. You know, you're going to have to try to box him up, so to say, but even that may not work, because what that's going to do, that's going to get the other receivers involved, you know, such as a Evans or a Knox and so forth. You know, those guys definitely can stretch the field, and also with their tight end Knox, you know, he's good in between the numbers. You know, Josh Allen likes to look for him a lot in the intermediate part of the field, like 10 to 15 yards down the field, especially in the intermediate box of the football field. Doesn't really like to throw outside to him a lot. He uses those for the receivers and the speed guys. Now with the Bills, you know, this is the Bills' game to win. You know, they are home. Their home record is 8-1 this season, but I don't think that's going to matter. I mean, one of the things with the Bills is that they have been a little turnover-ridden as of late. But, you know, I'm not going to count that Dolphins game because of this. You know, that's a division rival. You know, and considering the fact that the Dolphins and the Bills split that season, I knew that was going to be a tough game for the Bills, but I still thought they were going to win because they were the better team. Now, that's equivalent to the Bengals facing the Ravens in the wild card. You know, both of those teams split this year. You know, and I thought that without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens really didn't have a chance to win that game. You know, they showed some glimpse of heart, and, you know, they showed tenacity and so forth, but it just wasn't enough for the Bengals. And considering the fact that Bengals are a little bit more of a complete team than the Ravens, I saw them advancing. Now, this game this Sunday, I really think is going to be probably the best game, and here's why I say that, because both of these offenses are due for a good game. The Bills are due for a good game, and so are the Bengals. You know, I didn't think they looked that well offensively against the Ravens, and that's attributed to the Ravens' defense, you know, and that key addition of Roquan Smith, which I believe the Cowboys should have got, but that's neither here nor there. Now, for the Bengals, in order for them to win the game, you know, they're going to have to get Jamar Chase involved early and often. And what I mean by that is, you know, maybe a couple bubble screens here and there, a couple of slant routes. You know, they're going to have to move Jamar Chase around because I think he's going to be the X factor this game. You know, not one cornerback could just check him solo. It's just not going to happen. You know, he's made a mockery of DBs these past couple of years. And even though Jamar Chase was a little bit banged up this year, you know, his impact on the game is still very vital for the Bengals to win. Now, I do think Joe Mixon will struggle a little bit, but like I said before, if they implement him more in the pass game, I think they'll get more success against the Bills. Now, with that Bills defense, they like to take the ball away. Now, for Joe Burrow, he is a gunslinger, and he doesn't care. He will throw the ball to the guy if he is covered. He expects his receiver to make a play due to the confidence he has in his team. Now, that could play into the Bills' defense simply because, you know, Bills have guys who like to pretty much recover the fumble, intercept, strip the ball away. They're a very opportunistic defense. And what I hope for Joe Burrow is that he is able to play a clean game. Now, if the Bengals start turning over the ball with erratic throws, you know, just not being focused, you know, let's say they start getting penalties and things of that nature, it's going to be a long game for them. And the fighting chance that they do have is, like I said, getting Jamar Chase involved early and often. You know what that's going to do? That's going to force the Bills' defense to key in on him, and then you have T. Higgins. We all know what T. Higgins can do. We all saw the Super Bowl last year of what he can do. You know, he's definitely a phenomenal receiver. I don't think he's playing in the shadows of Jamar Chase. I think it's 1A, 1B. You know, if T. Higgins were to go to another team, I think he would be a starting receiver because I believe he's that good. Now, for the Bills, in order for them to win the game, like I said before, they can't turn the ball over. You know, Josh Allen, he's a very good quarterback. I think he's most arguably the best in the league. But sometimes he has boneheaded plays, and I think that's because, you know, he really wants to win. He has the utmost confidence in his offense, and that's just who he is. You know, Josh Allen is probably the prototypical quarterback of today's modern NFL. You know, you do look at Patrick Mahomes, you know, as great as he is, I think that, you know, Josh Allen is right under him. And also Joe Burrow as well, because those two have been playing phenomenal this year in the AFC division, as well as Patrick Mahomes. But I still have the Bills winning this game because I believe slightly the Bills are the better team. However, the Bengals, Like last year, they went into KC and they shocked the world. Nobody thought that they would win. They had the chip on their shoulder. And it's pretty similar to this year. I think the Bengals have a chip on their shoulder. I don't think they were taken as seriously as they should have been this year. Even though my Cowboys did beat them, I think in about week 2, but ever since then, the Bengals, they've been on fire. Especially with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, in that offense. That offense can be very dynamic. Now, due to the injuries with the offensive tackle and offensive guard, it's going to make things a little bit harder because the Bills, they do have a better pass rush. And I think if they do get to Burrow early and often, this game's going to be over by halftime. But these are my thoughts on the game. My prediction is Bills 31, Bengals 24, in a barn burner. I think it's going to be a very exciting game, and I honestly can't wait for it. But that's all I got for right now, guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the content, and you guys take it easy.